Now, Gloucestershire portrait artist Ali Bannister has got the amazing job of being the equine artistic advisor on Spielberg's adaptation of Warhorse, which is due for release next January 2012. It involved working on designs for the look of the horses, as well as being head of the equine hair and makeup department, which I never thought even existed. Not all that. In 2009, she was commissioned by Ringo Starr to do a portrait for his wife, and she's also got work hanging in the houses of Frankie Dettori and the England cricketers Derek Underwood and Andrew Strauss, and she joins us in the studio now. Hi, Ali.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Tell us then a little bit about Spielberg's adaptation of Warhorse. How did you get involved?
Well, my mum and dad's next door neighbours had some friends down to try out a horse for their son, and I thought that since I had a free afternoon, I'd go with them and act as a crash test dummy to check the horse wasn't going to kill their son. And when I was talking to the dad, it turns out that he was one of the art directors on the Harry Potter, and he said, it's such a shame I didn't meet you weeks ago because I'm working on Spielberg's version of Warhorse by Michael Morpurgo. And I thought, that's a shame too. And just as sort of an afterthought, he said, well, why not, send a CV and some examples of your work anyway? And that was on the Sunday night. And I never had the chance because on Monday morning I got a phone call from Gary saying, Rick Carter, the production designer who won an Oscar for his work on Avatar, has seen your work on your website and he really wants to meet you. Is there any chance you could come in tomorrow morning? And so I said yes. I went along to the studio and I had a fantastic meeting with Rick, who is just the loveliest guy. And we talked about horses and how they show expression and how to capture that expression. And he introduced me to Kathleen Kennedy, who is second to Spielberg, was the second most successful producer of all time. And he introduced me with the words, you two were born to work together on this project. I mean, that's quite a lot to live up to, isn't it, for an introduction? We started to talk to her and went into one of the production meetings in which they were trying to work out what the main lead character horse should look like. And Kathy said, is this something you can help with? And I said, of course. And so went away and sort of worked on some ideas and came back to her, and those ideas were shown to Spielberg and he liked them, and he said, can you try something else? And I tried that and he said, yep, that's good, great. And then they said, could you come down and oversee these looks being put onto the horses? And so it started off, they were interested in my drawings and could I produce drawings to go into the film, which hopefully will make the final cut. And it ended up being much, much more, and I was involved full-time for the duration of the film as this role that evolved as equine artistic advisor, which really was, I was responsible for the look of every single horse in every single scene and how they looked, and making sure that was exactly how Spielberg wanted them to look. So we would develop things on the horses, try different things on the horses, and then I would take those pictures along to him and he'd tell me what he liked or what he wanted more of. And once those were approved, the horses would go off onto set and they would be shot. Not literally.
So what was it he was asking for? Because to some people, a horse just looks like a horse.
Oh, there is so much I would love to tell you, but I'm afraid you'll have to wait till January to see the film to see how different our horses look from the start of the film to the very end. I mean, these are horses in the First World War in the trenches, and they go through a lot.
So you're not only a great artist, but you also have this passion for horses. I take it that's something that you've had throughout your life.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember when I was very small, maybe sort of 2 or 3, we were staying with friends and they happened to have a horse they were taking to a show, and I remember even when I was very small going to this show and seeing these horses go round and round in the ring, and I was just absolutely entranced by the power and beauty of them, and they're so strong and yet so gentle and yet so graceful. I mean, elephants have the power and strength and the gentleness, but horses have it all in one package.
Now, your portraits, which I've seen online, just look lifelike.
Thank you.
Some of them even look like photographs. Where does that come from, that passion, that ability? Where's it from? How hard have you had to work over your life to create that?
Well, that's the wonderful thing about art. I mean, the more you do it, the better you get. I mean, if you'd gone and told the 8-year-old me that I grew up to be an artist, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But it's slow progress. I mean, the more you do, the more you improve. I mean, my mum would say it's sort of from her side of the family, and she's probably right. There's probably a natural amount of talent there, but you really have to work at it to improve.
Where did you study?
I did a degree in graphic design at Brighton. I thought I better do a degree with the same title as a job. But I always did commissions. I'm going to say, I don't know, I've been doing it for about 15 years now. And I sort of found the first receipt for the first drawing I did the other day. It was £8.
And what year was that?
Oh, gosh. Literally sort of on a left school.
Yeah. So. Now, you've been commissioned by Ringo Starr. Did you meet him? What was that like?
I didn't get to meet him. He really wanted to be there, but unfortunately his wife, Barbara Bach, pretty much lives at the stables at their house, and so the only way that he could remove her so I could get in to get photographs so it could be a surprise was he had to take her off to London for a day.
Oh, so it was a surprise.
Yeah, we had to go with the PA and with the groom and sort of lots of little secret squirrel meetings to make sure she didn't find out. And so I produced the drawing and took it to him, and afterwards she wrote me a lovely thank you letter, and she said would I come back and take some pictures of the other horses and do more work for them. And she spent a couple of hours there, and she was showing me around the garden and sculptures and things. Really, really lovely lady.
And you've also drawn horses for Frankie Dettori as well.
Now that drawing was a picture that I'd done for myself. It was a really unusual angle, and it was quite a challenge from a sort of anatomy point of view to get everything spot on, because there's quite a lot of foreshortening. And so really I did that picture for myself for fun. But he was kind enough to sign it, and he wanted to take a print home, so I did a print for him.
So do you draw from a photograph, or do you watch, do it live?
I think for convenience sake it's a lot easier to draw from photographs, but I like to go out and to take my own reference pictures. If nothing else, I think the more time I spend with clients and their animals, the better idea I get of how they see them. And the commission work is very much about capturing the animal as the people who know them best see them.
Yes.
I think the more you involve the people who know them, the more accurate that picture's going to be at the end.
Yeah, the amount of times I've taken pictures of my dog and looked at it and gone, that's awful, you know. But then you'll get a great shot, and for me as a novice it's just absolute fluke. What is it that you're looking for in an animal to get that essence?
I think for a start you just have to take a lot of pictures. I think trying to get an animal to look alert and alive and awake and sort of is one thing, but I think you have to have a decent amount of photographic knowledge to start off with. But I think the more I see the owners when I'm taking a picture and they go, oh yes, that's it, I know the kind of thing that they are looking for. Yeah. And so I think I take a range of pictures of sort of the animals in motion, or little head studies, and try and catch a range of expressions, and then I'll take those pictures back to the owners and get their input, and they're quite clear about the pictures that they like the best. And so I think when I get to involve them, I know that in the end portrait I'm going to be able to show what they like to see in their animal.
What's your favourite material to work with?
I work a lot in pastels. The pastel paper that I use is like a fine grain sandpaper, so I can build up a lot of layers. You get a real richness of colour. But I like the sort of immediacy. If you want to change colour, you can just put down a pastel and pick up another one. I find when I'm working with paints that having to continually clean brushes out sort of almost interrupts the flow for me.
Yeah. Now, some of your pictures on your website are of humans, but most of them are animals. Do you prefer your subjects to be animals?
Oh, that's the question. I love the photo sessions when I go out and spend time with kids. They're just great fun. But equally, I love spending time with people and their animals. And I think, what a question. That's tricky.
It's hard. I'm not asking you whether you prefer people or animals. Just which ones you prefer to draw.
When it comes to the drawing, to me, when you're drawing, I'm not looking at, is this a person or is it a horse? I'm just looking at colour and shade and things like that. So whether it's a person or a horse, those things don't change.
Right, I must let you go. But coming up in next January is when Spielberg's War Horse is going to be out, and when you'll see your work. Will this be for the first time, or have you already seen some of the film?
At the end of filming, they showed us a slideshow of stills and with the music put over the top of it. And I'm just glad they told us beforehand, so we knew to wear waterproof mascara.
Oh yeah, it's very sad, isn't it? Are you going to be nervous watching your own work?
Oh, just excited. I mean, we had a really great team, and everybody on that film worked 100%. And so I know that everything in there will be absolutely spot on. So not nervous, just excited.
And what's next? Have you got anything else in the pipeline?
At the moment, I'm working on an oil painting for Michael Mapurgo, who wrote Warhorse. And it's the oil painting that starts the book. And I'd seen him on set, and I'd gone to talk to him to ask him about the painting, because I'd started my research looking for it on Google, couldn't find it. And I never got the chance, once I'd mentioned that I was doing the drawings, not to go into the film, hopefully. He jumped in and said that since the success of the play, people have been going to the village to see the painting that starts the book. And he said, I'm a fiction writer, it doesn't exist, but would you be interested in painting it for me? And so halfway through that, and hopefully it should go into the Warhorse exhibit at the National Army Museum later on in the year.
He's just such a good children's author as well.
And a really lovely guy.
Really? What a charmed life you're living at the moment. Ali, thank you so much for coming to see us today.
Can I do a very quick shout out to the Eldersfield Art Club, which is where I normally spend my Mondays, and to my good friends Emma and Darren from Little Dean Poultry Green.
Are we keeping you away from class at the moment then?
Yes.
She'll be back.